Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. In today's video, we are going to be continuing Naruto The Last Senju. What if Tsunade adopted Naruto? Part 3. As always, if you're new to the channel or if you're a regular and you like what we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Picking up where we left off, we continue with Naruto's journey in an alternate world. In a world where, following the night of Naruto's birth, instead of being left to be fended for and raised on his own, Naruto is instead given into the care of Tsunade Senju, and as such is raised as Naruto Senju, outside of the Hidden Leaf Village. With this, many more changes occur as many characters and interactions are much different without the presence of Naruto. However, how will the story be affected now that Naruto has returned to the series as we continue into the events of the Chunin exams? For all this and more, stay tuned as we now continue. Naruto The Last Senju. What if Naruto was adopted by Tsunade? Part 3. As always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Before long, the time for the Chunin exams would be upon those of the village hidden in the leaves. For Naruto and Team 10, when Asuma-sensei told them about the upcoming exams and what it entailed, they were excited about the prospect of pushing themselves and to see the challenging opponents they'd get to face. Naruto and Shino especially, but Ino still had some reservation. After all, despite the improvements she had made and the vast steps she had taken, she still felt a bit inadequate. However, Naruto, being the one to pick up whenever Ino wasn't feeling like her normal self, would ask her about it one day after they had finished their training. Of course, Ino tried to play it off, acting like it wasn't a big deal or that it wasn't something that particularly bothered her. However, Naruto could tell that the girl was lying. Come on, Ino, just be serious. What's the matter? You and Shino are so excited about the Chunin exams, but what exactly am I supposed to do? I mean, I'm not a freak of nature like you both. Sorry about that. It's fine, don't worry about it. And, you're just as skilled as the both of us. You've improved greatly. Your ninjutsu, your taijutsu, you've even become pretty resistant against some levels of genjutsu. That's to be commended. Yeah, but still, what if I end up running into something that's just too much for me? Well, I'll be there. Shino will be there. We'll help you. We are a team after all. We look out for one another. Ino would smile and thank him for the gesture. After some time, Ino found herself opening up a lot more. Her teammates weren't as bad as she thought they would be. Granted, she couldn't fully understand everything about them all the time, but also she couldn't say she disliked them. Naruto was different. He was a boy that seemed wise beyond his years in an odd sort of way, but yet he had this weird charm about him. She wasn't sure why, but every time she was around him, he felt warm, inviting, like he was someone that she truly wanted to spend time with. And Shino, well, he was actually a pretty down-to-earth and genuinely nice person, aside from the bugs that just kind of creeped her out. But still, her teammates were a lot more than she could have been expecting. But still, her heart still stayed focused on one person, Sasuke Uchiha. After all, it's what all of her efforts had gone into for so long, to be with Sasuke. There was no other boy that could have her. None that could rival her first love. As the group would arrive, Naruto's team, just by proxy of being who they were, would avoid a lot of the issues that Team 7 had to deal with. There was the fact that Rock Lee would still challenge Sasuke to a fight, and Sasuke would still be thrashed, with only Sasuke getting involved. Hinata trying to care for him afterwards, and well, Shikamaru, he had no interest in getting into a fight with Rock Lee, so there was nothing to worry about in that regard. Eventually, the 9 rookies would meet once again as they waited for the first round of the Chunin exams to start. With the 9 rookies all gathered together, the odd one out was clearly Naruto, since, after all, he didn't grow up with the rest of them. There was still a shroud of mystery around the boy and around his abilities, ones that Sasuke were keen in testing. While Ino, Sakura, and to a lesser extent Hinata were all vying for Sasuke's attention, well, not so much Hinata, she was just annoyed by the other 2 girls. Even Sakura could see that Ino wasn't fully into it. She would then tease the girl, asking if she had found someone else, to which Ino would reply that her heart only belonged to Sasuke and no one could ever compare. Of course, before long, the first part of the exams would begin, that being the written test. Now, Naruto in this timeline would be different from his canon self. Is this Naruto by any means a genius or what you might call exceptional academically? Absolutely not. But that didn't mean the boy was dumb. Remember, instead of going to the academy, Naruto was trained personally by the likes of Tsunade, Shizune, and Yamato, veteran shinobi who had vast amounts of knowledge and experience. So the boy was definitely prepared for whatever could come his way. Could he answer every one of the questions on the test? No, but he wasn't so inept that he couldn't at least make an attempt. I believe this version of Naruto wouldn't be smart enough to cheat. It's just not in his nature to do so. But even still, he wasn't so bad that he couldn't do for himself. At the very least, out of the 9 questions given on the written test, he could get at least 3, maybe 4 right if he were lucky. But that was probably pushing it to the max at 4. The exams would still go the same as in the original timeline, although a lot better in some case, and Naruto would get some unexpected help. While Naruto was still trying to figure out some of the last remaining questions, Naruto would slump forward in his desk, and then rise back up once again. Mind transfer jutsu successful. You should thank me, Naruto. With me being on your team, I can at least get you the answers. Ino would look down at Naruto's sheet and saw that he had a few. Maybe the boy wasn't so bad after all. As she went to fill out the rest, something would happen. Ino found herself suddenly transported. She was still in the mental plane, but she wasn't in Naruto's psyche. Instead, she was in a dark hall with water under her feet. A dark red light loomed in front of her, far off. As she walked, there were torches that began to appear on either side of her. Where the hell am I? Ino would ask herself. What was going on? Why on earth was she here? What was this, Naruto's mind? No, this was something else. Then she felt something sinister, something dark and ominous. She didn't even dare step any further as she heard a growl. Who goes there? What the? Who said that? This body already has an occupant. Get out! Naruto? Before she could finish, Naruto would appear beside her. You shouldn't have used the mind transfer jutsu on me, Ino. Naruto, if you're here, then what was that? Don't worry about it. Ino, I need you to promise. Promise me you'll never use that jutsu on me again. Ino would nod her head as she undid the jutsu and left Naruto's body, appearing back into her own. However, this time shook to the core and unable to move. Whatever it was that was inside of Naruto, it wasn't natural. It wasn't even human. It was something evil. The rest of the exams would still go the same as in the original timeline, with Team 10, along with the other rookie teams, advancing to the next stage, the second round of the Chunin exams, the Forest of Death. However, for Team 10, there was a bit of an issue. Ino was not getting too close to Naruto. She was still scared. Whatever or whoever that was. But yet she knew Naruto. He was a kind and good person. But what was that thing? Shino could pick up that something was going on with them. Although he couldn't quite put his finger on it, something had happened. Something they weren't talking about. Once the exam began, Team 7 would be able to advance quickly enough and get a scroll for themselves. Unlike in the original, there was no prodding to try to go after any other teams they didn't have to. And because Naruto's on Team 10 and not with a certain someone, it means Team 10 avoids the issue that Team 7 would run in with a certain grass ninja. Although their teamwork would be much more effective, Shikamaru using the shadows of the forest to his advantage, with Hinata acting as support for Sasuke. Sasuke launching a flurry of ninjutsu and taijutsu strikes, along with Hinata with the gentle fist. They were able to push their opponent a lot further than the original Team 7 was able to do so, and with all three members actually fighting. However, the results still end the same, with Sasuke coming into contact with Orochimaru and being given the curse mark, and with Shikamaru being almost entirely drained of chakra and being taken out of commission not too long after. However, because Orochimaru knew what type of opponents he were fighting, he didn't try to go all out as he had before, meaning that while Shikamaru was tired, he was still capable of standing and being conscious, meaning that Shikamaru and Hinata would have to watch after Sasuke while he recovered. This would still lead to the conflict with the Sound 3 that would seek out Sasuke and attempt to fight him. However, the combined efforts of both Shikamaru and Hinata would do a deal in slowing them down. Before Naruto and Team 10 could even get in to aid them, that's when Sasuke would awaken. Sasuke, with the power of the curse mark flowing through him, would make short work of the Sound 3, forcing them to retreat. Now, you might be wondering, Rock Lee didn't show up to aid them? Well, no. Rock Lee wouldn't be around because there's no Sakura. Sakura still rejects Rock Lee like in the start, although because she's on Team 8 with Kiba and with Choji, it means that Rock Lee has no reason to run into Team 7 at all. And before Team 10 could even provide any assistance, Sasuke had taken care of the issue. This gave Ino another glimpse into Sasuke, seeing him in a different way, a way that was not settling to her at all, but rather off-putting. Because of this, the Forest of Death would take a different turn. Team 7 would give some time for Sasuke to recover before eventually teaming with Kabuto and making their way to the tower with even less time, while Team 10 was able to make it in a fairly decent amount of time, almost 2 days ahead. When they arrived and they opened both their Heaven and Earth scroll, Asuma would appear. happy to see that his Genins had advanced to the next stage and was proud of how they had performed up until now. Team 10 would thank Asuma Sensei as they waited in the waiting area for whatever other teams were going to arrive before the next stage of the exams could begin. During that waiting process was when more truths would be revealed. As Naruto sat alone, Shino and Ino would walk towards him, with Shino being told of what Ino had experienced. At first, Naruto was angry with Ino for talking about something he had told her not to, but Shino was able to figure it out through his own deduction skills. Now, Naruto was at an impasse. What was he going to do? Was he going to tell his new friends the truth? The truth about him? He had wanted to keep to himself as much as possible anyway. After mulling it over, he decided he would take them somewhere private. Finding a location where no one else could hear them, the two would sit down with Naruto as he explained what he was. He would reveal to them his status as the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. This would be a shock to both Shino and Ino, mainly because the Nine-Tails was nothing more but a myth. Remember, Naruto was not raised in the Hidden Leaf Village. That meant that parents had no boogeyman to warn their children to stay away from. There was no kid Naruto to scorn or to mock, and because of that, the Nine-Tails was just a taboo, something that was rarely spoken of, and for good reason. Of course, this would be a big shock to both Shino and Ino, as they had to try to process the information and what they were going to do next. Naruto expected the two of them to distance themselves, and he wouldn't have blamed them, but they didn't. Instead, they would tell Naruto that it changed nothing. Sure, Ino was scared, that was true, but they were still smart enough to know that Naruto himself was not the Nine-Tails. He just had the misfortune of having the Nine-Tails sealed inside of him. If anything, that was a good thing, because if it wasn't sealed inside of Naruto, it would have just rampaged even further and destroyed everything. He was kind of a hero. Naruto was surprised that his friends would actually think that of him, and he was relieved. With Team 10 now growing even closer, with no secrets to hide, and nothing keeping them apart, they felt themselves growing ever closer together. As in the original, the same number of teams would advance as before, with Kabuto ultimately deciding to drop out as he didn't want to blow his cover. Of course, when it comes to the Chunin exams in this part of the story, everything is always tossed up in the air and randomized. After all, in a different universe, you shouldn't be getting the same outcome. So because of that, these would be the 10 prelim matches that would have to be held, as explained by Hayate Gecko, that there were still too many participants to advance to the third stage, which would be one-on-one singles combat, and not wanting to waste the time of those within the exams of having a long set of matches, a small number was often suffice, usually in the single digits, give or take. With that, out of the 20 that remained, only 10 would advance to the finals. This would be the order of prelim matches. First, Gaara of the Sand versus Yoroi of the Leaf. Even with Yoroi's ability to absorb chakra, it does him no good in this scenario. Yoroi is the first casualty that's seen because Gaara, after using a simple and effective sand coffin, crushes and buries him. No point getting a body, because once the sand dissipates, there's nothing left. Yoroi's body was crushed and ground into the sand itself. The next match would see Dosu of the Sound versus Sakura of the Leaf. Sakura would be a lot more craftier and stronger in this timeline. Again, with no Sasuke on her team, there's no distractions from her training. With Kurenai taking more of an interest in her training, her genjutsu would be far more improved, more than enough to deal with the likes of Dosu. Effectively, Sakura would use his own sound against him, using a sound-based genjutsu, causing him to be caught in her own trap and forcing him into defeat after delivering a series of strikes that would render him immobile. Sakura would win and advance to the finals. The third match would be Ken versus Neji. Neji is simply the superior fighter, and nothing Ken does would be able to affect him. Neji would win and advance to the finals. The fourth match would be Misumi versus Naruto. Misumi would be a bit tricky with his ability to dislodge his bones and to stretch his body like Mr. Fantastic or Luffy from One Piece. However, Naruto would still have the overall strength, speed, and the skill needed to overcome him. While it would be tricky at first, Naruto would ultimately get the win. Thanks to his years of training with Tsunade, he would know the body's anatomy a lot better than even Misumi would be capable of. As such, Naruto would be able to dissect the perfect way to take him down, with Naruto getting the win and advancing to the finals. The fifth match would see Sasuke versus Tenten. Safe to say, even with a nerfed Sasuke, Tenten does not have any luck in winning this match. Sasuke takes her down simply and effectively without even needing to use his Sharingan or ninjutsu. Sasuke wins and advances to the finals. The sixth fight would be a rematch from the original timeline with Shino versus Zaku. Zaku still gets his arms blown off and Shino advances to the finals. The seventh match would see Kiba versus Ino. This is where Ino's display of her power would be on for a show. With her training with Naruto, Ino would learn to use the mind transfer jutsu in combination with other jutsu to help bring it out to its fullest potential. This would be a game of cat and mouse, with Ino trying to stay on guard against the likes of both Kiba as well as Akamaru. However, she would display one skill that would be useful. It would almost drain her of all of her chakra to pull it off, but still it was effective. Ino would use the Shadow Clone Jutsu. At best, she could only make 2 clones, but that was more than enough. Using the clones in a series of tricks, she would systematically take out Akamaru, before using the jutsu to her advantage to take out Kiba next. Ino would get the win and advance to the finals. The eighth match would see Temari versus Hinata. This version of Hinata would be much stronger than her canon self, as she was training not only with the likes of Sasuke and Shikamaru, but also with Kakashi, who was able to bring out some of her true and latent potential. The fight would not be easy, as Temari would look to keep her distance at all times. However, Hinata would ultimately get the win and advance to the finals. The ninth match would see Kankuro versus Shikamaru. Shikamaru would have the advantage with Kankuro. Using the Shadow Possession Jutsu, he would be able to connect himself to the puppet and then to Kankuro. Getting him and angling him where he wanted to, he would slam his head against the back of the wall using the Shadow Possession Jutsu, knocking him out and getting the win. Or, if that wasn't to work, then he could just take over the puppet from the puppet user and use it against Kankuro, with Kankuro having no choice but to bow out instead of showing off any more of what his puppets could do, as that had to be hidden for a later date and time. Shikamaru would advance to the finals. And in the final match, it would be Rock Lee versus Choji. This would simply be a battle of powerhouses, and ultimately Rock Lee would come out with the win, defeating Choji with a Leaf Hurricane, knocking the human bulldozer back into the side of the wall, knocking him out and getting the win, advancing to the finals. And with that, our 10 finalists would now be in place. Gaara, Sakura, Neji, Naruto, Sasuke, Shino, Ino, Hinata, Shikamaru, and Rock Lee. From here, they would all draw lots to determine who they would face off in the tournament. This was going to be the first round consisting of 5 matches. And the matches would be as followed. The first match, Ino versus Sakura. The second match, Rock Lee versus Sasuke. The third match, Hinata versus Neji. The fourth match, Shino versus Shikamaru. And finally, the fifth match, Naruto versus Gaara. The third Hokage would wish them all good luck, as they would have 1 month's time to train in preparation for the finals that were soon to take place. Both Team 7 and Team 10 would meet with their respective senseis, who would be proud of them both, as all 3 members of the team would be advancing to the finals. Everyone would have their training about them, what they were going to be doing for the next month in preparation for the fights that were to come. Asuma would offer for Naruto to train with him. However, Naruto had his own ideas, assuming he could find Yamato around the village, but he would thank his sensei. However, Shino would step up. If anyone could get him where he needed to be, it would definitely be Asuma. And Asuma looked forward to the opportunity, as he was going to have to train his student to go up against one of Kakashi's and Shikamaru. Ino would also approach her father, as she wanted to take her training to the next level. She wanted to be prepared for what was to come. She was going to have to face against Sakura, a rival. And Sakura did the same. She was the only member of Team Kurenai that advanced to the finals, and she and Kurenai Sensei had a lot to work on, because Sakura wanted to win this, and she had no intentions on losing. In the meantime, Naruto would make his way throughout the village. He hadn't seen Yamato Sensei in a while, and he wondered if everything was alright. Yamato was at a meeting with the third Hokage, discussing the events of the Forest of Death and their worst case scenario, the return of Orochimaru. However, Naruto wouldn't be too lost on his journey. While passing the hot springs, he would come across a familiar sight, someone he hadn't seen in a while. Pervy Sage? Ah, great. Now who's calling me? Naruto! Pervy Sage? What are you doing? I'm doing some ever-important research, my boy. It's been a while since I've seen you. Look how you've grown. Tell me, have you developed that sexy jutsu of yours to a next level? Pervy Sage, if Mom finds out I was using that jutsu, she'd kill me. Oh, don't worry about that, my boy. The worst thing she could do is give you a love tap. Trust me, I've been in one situation in my whole life where I almost died, and it was at your mother's hands. If there's anyone who knows what it's like to almost be killed by Tsunade, it's me. But anyway, what are you doing? I was trying to find Yamato Sensei. I needed someone to help train me for the finals of the Chunin exams. So you made it to the finals. Congratulations. Thanks. Say, would you be willing to train me? I don't know. I've got this research. Come on. That research is not more important than my training. Besides, we haven't trained together in almost 5 years, and you promised we would again, if I mastered the basics. Well, have you? Of course I have. Well, now I'm intrigued. Okay, kid. Show me what you got. In the meantime, a group of Anbu arrived to a town outside of the hidden leaf within the land of fire. Tsunade and Shizune were heading home after getting the ingredients for dinner when they approached them. Lady Tsunade, it is an honor, and yeah. You're here on leaf business, so what's it about? It's about your son, ma'am. Naruto? What happened to Naruto? Nothing, ma'am. It's just that the boy has done well in the Chunin exams. He's made it to the finals. Oh, I see. That's such great news, Shizune would say. We're so proud of him. He's made it to the finals and in his rookie year. Of course he did. He's my son. What do you expect? Yes, ma'am. The third Hokage would like you to return to the leaf for the exams, if you'd be willing. Well, of course we will, won't we? Shizune would say, looking at Tsunade. Shizune, you can't go making decisions for me. Come on, it's Naruto. You don't have to stay or move there. We can at least go and support him. He's family. You're right. But there's also another matter, ma'am. We've had some trouble in the leaf. Trouble? What kind of trouble? It seems that during the exams, Orochimaru has made his return. What did you say? Tsunade would ask him again. Orochimaru, Lady Tsunade. He has returned. This concludes Naruto the Last Senju. What if Tsunade adopted Naruto? Part 3. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we begin Season 2 of ReZero Avatar Lost. What if Aang was in ReZero? Season 2, Part 1. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.